E te mihi tuarua, tēnā koutou ko akonga. E tino atuhua koutou, tēnā koutou ki ngā mātua me ngā whanangatanga o akonga. E te mihi tuatoru, e ngā manuhiri, e hui mai nei, tēnā koutou katoa. Nau mai, haere mai ki te hui toku tohu, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa. Good evening, graduates, friends, family, welcome guests and staff of NZSE. I'm Andrew Brennan, Head of Applied Learning and ICT Manager at NZSE, and it is my great pleasure to open tonight's graduation ceremony at the home of the mighty Vodafone Warriors. Like the Warriors, NZSE has a strong desire to make positive impact in the communities we are a part of, and as I look around the audience here tonight and I see the family and friends that have supported our graduates during their studies, I feel sure that we are doing that. Graduates, your hard work and the support of your families will pay off. In today's world, the correlation between education and employability is greater than ever before. So congratulations on achieving this important step towards your career goals. I hope that you enjoy tonight and take great pleasure in celebrating your accomplishments. We are lucky to have some inspirational guest speakers with us tonight, and so I hope you will also take this opportunity to be inspired and reflect on where your qualifications may take you next. Nō reira, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā tātou katoa.
Thank you, Andrew. In 2011, NZSE had officially become the education provider of the Vodafone Warriors. NZSE and the Vodafone Warriors share a common platform off the field, including a focus on youth, education and community development. This year alone, we have seen the Warriors and Junior Warriors participate in NZSE training programs. NZSE campus opened up in Manukau City, the breeding ground of future rugby league stars. We are honoured this evening to have and open this evening's special our guests address. The CEO of the Vodafone Warriors, Mr. Wayne Sculler. Please welcome him to the platform.
Thank you, Sefa, and thank you for the welcome. And thank you also for the opening, Andrew. I'd just like to firstly acknowledge our gratitude for the sponsorship by New Zealand School of Education of the Vodafone Warriors. And thank you to the directors, Brajesh and Matil. Thank you, and great to see you here tonight. I was standing at the front row and watching the graduates come through, and you can see a little bit of nervousness and a little bit of tension, but a lot of pride as well, and I can feel the pride from the families behind them. And it's a wonderful evening for you people, and I pass on my congratulations. And it sort of reminded me that you can start your education at any stage as well, because I was pretty much a major disappointment with my mother, and the only time she came to school was to visit the principal's office when I'd done something wrong. And my brother was exactly the same too. So, but he's kicked on and done pretty well for himself. And we both started badly though. We left school at 15. Both got our girlfriends pregnant at 17. And we're fathers by nearly 18. So perhaps a lot of you people here tonight can relate to that. And so our education happened a little bit later. We had the life education very early. And I remember we both jumped on a plane with our young wives and our babies and headed off to Australia. And took on different parts. My brother got into computing, and now he's got a software company and does a lot of government contract work in Australia and also New Zealand. And I went and started working in a warehouse in Alexandria in Sydney, and we had no money, my little girl, Irene, and my wife, and I had to get a push bike to get to work, and I was unloading big containers, frozen containers of cheese and Italian and Dutch food, and also the big tins of tomatoes from Italy. And it was pretty hot in summer inside those containers. And then one day, one of the sales reps was sick. So the boss, it was a family company, the boss said to me, can you just go out and cover his calls? It was selling imported food to delicatessens and to supermarkets. So I had to bike home on my bike and get the best gear that I had. And they gave me a car to go out and do the calls, and it was away at Penrith, which was a long way from where we were living in Coogee. And the first night I was out till 9 o'clock, cleaning all the shelves, every shop I went into, because I saw how dirty it was, and I thought I didn't have a clue what to do. So no one ever gave me any training. But I thought, well, it's all pretty untidy. And because I worked in the warehouse picking all the orders, I knew all the stuff that sold. And I'd tidy it up and put everything in order and say to the guy, hey, all this stuff is missing, that's some of our best sellers. So I sort of fell into it, and I did that for the whole week, and then this guy was sick for another week. And anyway, after the second week, the owner of the company called me in, and he said, oh, you've more than tripled the orders of the old guy, so they sacked him and never came back. So I guess that was how I fell into training, and then I got into the sales and marketing career, and I re-entered education after I'd left school. But one of the regrets I had that I didn't really rate school or understand what education was about. And no doubt a lot of you guys, you've done similar things in your own way, and you've come back and through the New Zealand School of Education, you've revisited education, and it's fantastic to see, and it will certainly open huge doors for you. So you should be proud now. You've given yourself a great start at whatever stage of your life you're at. And I wanted to introduce Felipe Mateo. He's one of your fellow students as well, and he's promised he's coming back to graduate this time next year. So it's great to have you here, Felipe, and your lovely wife, Michelle, who also works for us. But I'm very impressed with Felipe too, because he's been away on a camp with the team, and it's been a pretty hard training camp for the last 3 days. So thanks for giving up the evening that you'd normally be well asleep, and I think you will at some stage, not too far away. But it's I guess what Felipe's going through too with the team is very much like you people with your life, and it's I guess you take out what you put in, and if you've given up and sacrificed time to complete your studies, you are giving yourself every opportunity to achieve more, and that's a bit what the Vodafone Warrior is about. We're going to work harder than ever to try and get the results that we think this club deserves, and I wish you the same. I also really appreciate the connection with education with the club and what it does for our own players, whether it's our junior players or our senior players who are re-entering education. And part of the sponsorship for us is the scholarships and the opportunities for young Vodafone Warriors to come and educate themselves, and especially in the areas of computing and IT. So it's a fantastic opportunity because it is the future, and it fits really wonderfully for our club. And we hope we also give value and branding back to the New Zealand School of Education, but you're certainly giving us a lot as well, and it fits perfectly with our community program. I think it's going to be, I'll talk a little bit about the club now, and some of you will pick up the papers tomorrow, and no one else knows about it, but we're tomorrow announcing that we're playing our first ever home game away from Auckland. We're going to be playing in Wellington against the Bulldogs in round 9, and it's a Saturday night game, and we're coming out with a lot of special offers, a lot of special ideas to get Aucklanders down there, but also special jersey to mark the occasion. So it's the first time in the whole history of the club that we've ever played a home game out of Auckland, and it's going to be a massive opportunity for us to showcase us. And we're going up against the grand finalists from last year too. And we're also, so a little bit like yourselves, we're trying to create our own future and create a bit of history. And we're also starting our home season at Eden Park, playing against Sunnyvale and the Roosters. So we've got 2 massive games, as well as the 10 games that we'll play here at Mount Smart Stadium. So it's going to be a really exciting season. We've gone through a lot of change ourselves, and just like you'll notice, you've gone through change in trying to establish your career. But you know, change is something that creates a new opportunity, and we see the best days are ahead of our club, and I'm sure the best days are ahead of you, the students of New Zealand School of Education. So that's all from me. I wanted to really congratulate the families. I know how proud you are, but more to the students themselves. This is your night. Have a wonderful celebration, and you should be immensely proud because you've worked hard and you've earned it. Thank you.
Thank you, Wayne. Before you do leave, we want to just acknowledge you and the time that you've set aside to spend with us this evening, but also just thank you for your words of encouragement, your life's experience that I know that have imparted across to our students. On behalf of the NZSE team, we'd like to say thank you once again. Ladies and gentlemen, we're very fortunate this evening to have our second guest speaker, who was also part of the Warriors management team this year. Without further ado, it gives me the privilege of introducing to you Mr. Dean Bell. I've had one of the students that just wrote me a very quick biography, so this is what they wrote, and I'll read this out on their behalf. Dean Bell, a New Zealand international representative, Kiwi centre, has played most of his league in England, Australia and New Zealand, most notably with Wigan, with whom he won 7 consecutive Challenge Cup finals. Now, bear in mind these are international students that do a lot of research, so just let us know how they're going. He later returned to New Zealand to captain the Warriors in the inaugural year in the NRL. For our international students, just so that you know his impact in New Zealand sport, he is the equivalent of India's Sachin Tendulkar of Indian cricket, or the great Chinese NBA superstar Chao Ming. More importantly, in his early years, he learned his craft playing in South Auckland and was named Manukau Magpies Player of the Century. What do you think? Please welcome our second guest speaker this evening, Mr. Dean Bell.
Thank you to the graduates, mums and dads, family members. Thank you very much for inviting me here tonight. I know it's a very special occasion. I'm pretty sure it's an exciting time for you graduates. You've got newfound skills. You're going to embark on maybe new employment opportunities. And all I can say to you really is don't place limits on yourselves. I think, you know, sometimes we live in a very negative society and we're always told what we can't do and what we can't achieve. But you've made the effort to achieve this graduation. Now make the most of it. As I say, don't place limits. Set yourself goals. Okay, that's really important. When I was growing up, I had a lot of people tell me that I couldn't do things. I love proving people wrong. I think we all do. But also, you do have to set goals. I don't think there were cool goals in my day. I think I had a dream. And my dream was to play at Wembley Stadium. I don't know if you've heard of Wembley Stadium, but it's in London in the UK. And as a young kid, my dad used to get me up in the early hours of the morning to watch the FA Cup football final, the Challenge Cup Rugby League final. And I was just amazed that a stadium was that big. There was over 100,000 people there. And I thought to myself, imagine playing there one day. So I worked really hard as a youngster. I made a lot of sacrifices. And the day came. I played for Wigan and I was there, and it was pretty cool actually, because I'll tell you a little bit of a story about it. Because I was lucky enough to go there another 6 times after the first time. But the first time is the one that really stands out to me. And I remember we were staying about an hour away from Wembley Stadium itself, staying in a hotel, and 2 police traffic cars and motorbikes came along, and they they sort of escorted us all the way to Wembley Stadium. So every set of lights in London, and you know how big London is, they would be stopping the traffic, and we were just like royalty going through. So we felt so cool sitting there on the bus. And probably about 1k out from Wembley itself, the bus slowed down. And I remember it's a place called Wembley Way, and then as it slowed down, the coach at the time, a guy called Graham Lowe, was a New Zealander. He was the coach of Wigan and coached New Zealand as well. He put the music, the theme to the Rocky movie on. And you imagine that, we're just going through this, thousands of people either side of the bus along Wembley Way. And we're going to the change rooms, and the bus could actually go right outside the change rooms. And I could see all these people, and I thought, how inspiring is this? But I didn't know what was to come, because waiting in that tunnel, you could hear the distant noise of the crowd, but you didn't really know what you're walking into. And believe me, when we got the okay to walk out, it was like my feet weren't even touching the ground. It was just an explosion of noise and colour. And you can imagine 100,000, there was over 100,000 people, I think 103,000 people there that day. And I achieved my dream. Obviously, I didn't want to go out there and lose, because no one likes to lose, least of all me. And played the game, and I remember walking up the steps, and I remember holding that trophy aloft over my head. And you know what the first thing I thought of? First thing I thought of was Mum and Dad, all the sacrifices they made. But I also thought of all the sacrifices I made. And it's like nothing in life comes free. There's always payback. And you know, guys, whatever age you are, don't place limits on yourselves, because you can achieve dreams as well. Okay? Wayne mentioned pride, and I think pride is really one of the biggest motivators in my life. So sadly so that this afternoon, when I was cleaning my car, my neighbour across the road came out and started cleaning his car. I stayed out there half an hour extra so I could clean my car better than him. I actually think that is sad, actually, but never mind. But that's, I mean, pride drives us. You know, you know, when you're out there, you've got to display how much it means to you. And when I seen you walking past here, as Wayne says, some were a little bit sheepish, some were shoulders back. Be proud of what you've achieved. Be proud of yourself, and go on to great things. Thank you for listening. I don't want to play too much more of a part in your night, because it is your night. I'm just thankful for being here. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dean. Again, on behalf of NZSE, we'd like to thank you as well for your words of encouragement by way of a small gift on behalf of the NZSE team. So, on behalf of us, we say thank you.